Welcome, everyone. Bold Blind Beauty is recognizing October as National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And our Up in the Air series presents our webinar series. And this is our very first one. Level up your career with an eye-catching profile on LinkedIn webinar. We thank you for joining us here today. I am Nazarene, the Chief Communications Officer here at Bold Blind Beauty, which is an advocacy platform which demystifies blindness through storytelling. I am a light-skinned South Asian woman with curly shoulder-length auburn hair, wearing red rimmed glasses, and wearing a red chiffon blouse. I'm still sort of in the summer mode here today, so I've got short sleeves on. I want to welcome you all again, and we're going to go through a few housekeeping tips to start with. So before I introduce our guest, this event, as you know, is being recorded, and only those who registered in advance will receive the resource guide after the session. All attendees are going to be muted during the session and to avoid any distractions. We encourage you to use the chat feature to ask any questions or any insight that you might have, and 10 minutes prior to the end of the session, we will have a Q&A. Do you know that LinkedIn has been around longer than most other social platforms, and it is considered a professional social networking platform, and it hosts more than 600 million professional profiles at present. And it's more relevant now than ever. And our guest, Empish Thomas, will share her expertise and her knowledge in helping you to level up your LinkedIn profile and create that outstanding digital footprint. A little about Empish. Empish is a freelance writer, a disability blogger, a consultant, and a journalist by trade. When Empish noticed the negative and sometimes incorrect portrayal of the disability community in the news media, she became proactive and decided to change the image. She believes that language is powerful and the people with disabilities must tell their own stories. Welcome, Empish.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I just want to do a quick mic check. Is everyone able to hear me okay? Am I coming through all right?
You're coming through loud and clear.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Well, as Nazarene said, my name is Empish, and I go by the pronouns she and her. I am a Black woman with gray, brown, shoulder-length hair and light brown eyes. I'm wearing my fall colors today. So I have on a cinnamon orange blazer with a brown blouse and matching jewelry and lipstick. So now let's get into this. The focus of this presentation is to spotlight sections of your LinkedIn profile. I will explain the importance of each section and the steps to take to give you more visibility. First, I will explain what LinkedIn is. Second, I will discuss your profile and the 6 most important sections of that profile. And lastly, I will give you a challenge to move you to the next level. So let's get started here. Okay, definition. What is LinkedIn and why you should care? LinkedIn is the most underutilized social media platform to date compared to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It is the best search engine that businesses, corporations, and companies use daily. People wrongly assume that LinkedIn is only for job seekers, but that's not true. It provides a rich opportunity to network, to make connections, and to do professional development. As a result of this myth, people assume they don't have to do anything with their LinkedIn profile. All they have to do is put their picture up, give a job description, put a summary, and then let it be. But that's not correct either. What ends up happening is once someone searches for you on LinkedIn, typically on your Google search, or if you use another search engine, your LinkedIn profile will pop up in that first page of search results. So if your LinkedIn profile is not active, it's not correct, you're not engaging, you're going to miss out on many opportunities and not even realize it. So let's talk about the 6 most important parts of the LinkedIn profile. Now, bear in mind, there's a lot of other sections on your profile on LinkedIn, but for this particular webinar, we're going to focus on the 6 most important ones that I think will help you be more visible. Number 1, your header. This is the very top of your LinkedIn profile. It is the banner, or sometimes known as your digital business card. First thing people will see when they look at your LinkedIn profile. So this is really, really critical. You want to add your pronouns, whatever those might be. Put your pronouns up there so people know how to acknowledge and recognize you. You also want to include hashtags. And these hashtags can be terms for your industry that you work in, passion projects that you're involved in, special interests, that sort of a thing. For example, my hashtags are reading, blindness, accessibility, audio description, and I think I got one more, but I failed to think about it right now. But you can do at least 5 hashtags. So take some time to put your hashtags up there on your header. Now, a part of your header is your headline. So those are 2 H's, header and headline. I'm going to talk about the headline right now. And that's typically the space, that edit box where you put in your job title. But this is the thing, you do not want to use the default that LinkedIn will give you. Be creative with that real estate and really make it pop. So this is the thing, use specific keywords for your industry. We're talking about search engine optimization, or SEO, and we're talking about visibility. So look at your industry, look at people that are working in the same field you're in, and put keywords in that headline. You want to include your expertise, your passion projects, or even your personal website address so people can contact you if they are not connected to you on LinkedIn. You want to use the vertical bar symbol versus a slash. That gives, just makes it look cleaner, makes it look nicer, gives it some white space. And if you're not familiar, that vertical bar is the key right above the enter on your keyboard, along with shift. So you press shift and that key above your enter key, and that will give you those vertical slashes. Okay. So be thoughtful about what you're going to put in your headline. And the reason being is that when you start connecting with people, whether you're in groups, you're making comments, you're liking, you're sharing, this headline will be the thing everybody sees anytime you engage. So you really want to think about what you want to put in this space. So avoid all caps, unfamiliar words, acronyms, controversial topics, and of course, leaving it blank. Do not do that. So, second thing is your photo. Okay, use a professional or business casual headshot. Use a current photo with high resolution. No pictures from when you were a teenager. Use your most current picture that you have available. Smile, look happy, be engaging. Give a picture that, put up a picture that makes it look like you want to be here and you want people to connect and interact with you. Profiles with no photos tend to not get many connections. As a matter of fact, a lot of people will not connect with you on LinkedIn if you do not have a picture. So that's really, really important. Okay. Third is your contact info. Now, this is kind of a no-brainer, but it's still very important. In the contact information section, you have the opportunity to put in a phone number, email address, website address. Make sure you complete that section fully and that all your contact information is accurate, because when people want to connect with you, they may go to that section to reach out and talk to you. Okay. So also, okay, this is number 4. Now I'm getting down to number 4, which is your about or your summary section. And I'm going to break it up just a little bit because there's some different tips for people that are job seekers versus people that are currently employed. So just bear with me as we go through this section. Okay, you want to always write in first person. Think about if you're at a networking function or you're doing your elevator speech, you'll use the pronoun I. So make sure that your summary, your about section is in first person. You have about 2,000 characters of space, so make it count. But with that being said, the first 3 to 4 lines, you got to grab somebody. So think about when they say above the fold on a newspaper. So you want to put some things up there in that first 3 to 4 lines that'll grab someone's attention. People are clicking through, they're moving fast, and if you don't have something really appealing, people would just pass you by. If they're interested, they'll click on the more button and read your whole about section. Okay, so the let's see, yeah, that just said that. Okay, things to think about while you're writing your summary. These are just some things to think about. What drives you besides the paycheck? What makes you tick? What are you passionate about or interested in? Explain your current role and the job that you are doing right now. Frame your career path. So include that in there as well, maybe a sentence or two about what you did prior to your current position. Highlight successes, achievements, and awards that you've won. Share interests outside of work. People want to know that you're a well-rounded person and that you just don't work, but you have other things in your life that you like to do. It's about telling a story and asking for what you want. Now, you also want to include keywords. Like we talked about keywords before, you want to put keywords in this section as well. And again, going back to what's going on in your industry as a guide for those keywords. You also want to have plenty of white space, short sentences, and short paragraphs. Don't have your about section all bunched up. It makes it hard on the eye for people to see it. Okay, now, if you're job seeking, this is going to be a little bit different. So I've got a couple of tips for you if you're a job seeker. Okay, number 1, focus on what you will do for the employer. It's not really about you, it's about what you're going to bring to the table for that prospective employer or recruiter that's talking to you. You want to use these questions. Why do you want this job and why should we hire you? If you think about your job interviews, they ask these questions in that interview or when you're writing your cover letter. So bear those things in mind as you put your profile summary together. Second, emphasize your hard skills first and then soft skills. People want to know, what can you do? What are you bringing to the table? It's nice to say, you know, I'm a team player and I'm well organized and that sort of thing. Those are soft skills, but you really want to focus on those hard skills first, and then later down in your profile, highlight your soft skills. Show the employer what you can actually do. Okay. And then the last thing is include numbers and data. So if you have information like I manage a team of 11 people, or I moved the company up in sales by 15%, those numbers will really be helpful in your about section of your LinkedIn profile. Hard numbers sell very well. So number 5, your experience. And this is also a very critical section of your LinkedIn profile. It's different from a resume. And this is something I learned recently while researching for this webinar. So when you think about your resume, you may have bullet points, you've got things specifically that you've done. Not so on your LinkedIn profile. On your LinkedIn profile in the work section, you want to summarize your job. You want to summarize your job duties, and maybe like in a couple of sentences. And again, those first 3 to 4 lines is what's going to grab people. And if they're interested, they'll click the more button to see more of your job description. So, okay, when listing employers, make sure that their name and logo is visible. LinkedIn has the ability to search for particular companies, and you want to use that feature. Make sure that that company name pops up correctly and their logo is visible. You can also attach images and videos and documents to this section, which I think is really awesome. For example, I'm a freelance writer, as Nazarene mentioned earlier. So I have writing samples right on my LinkedIn profile. I don't have to send that separately to an employer unless they ask me to, but they can go right to my LinkedIn profile and see real examples of work I've actually done right there in my profile. And I think that's an awesome feature on LinkedIn. So, okay, we're coming down to the end here. The last one is your education and your certifications. And this is also really, really important that you complete on your LinkedIn profile. It gives you credibility to your profession, and it also allows you to connect with your classmates. So if you graduated from a college or university, and even if it doesn't apply to your current role or to a prospective job you want to do, put your education on there anyway. It will show credibility. And then there are people in the alumni chapters, and sometimes there's even alumni groups on LinkedIn you can join from that particular university or college. List your certifications. If you have a license in something or you're certified in something, list that as well. Again, even if it's not connected to your current role, it'll give you opportunities to connect with others. Okay, now in conclusion, your LinkedIn profile tells the world who you are from a professional perspective. It allows you to connect with people in the workplace and build that up. Now, 2 challenges I have for you, or what some people may say, homework assignment. First of all, I want you to review your LinkedIn profile. Use any of the information that I've shared with you today to update your profile and make it the best it can possibly be. So that's my first challenge to you. My second challenge is to connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a message and make it personal. Don't just use the default, but you can say something like, Empish, I was at your webinar about LinkedIn. I would love to connect with you here, and I'll be more than happy to connect with you. So these are the things that I want to share with you that will level up your career with an eye-catching profile on LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Empish. Boy, that was a lot of stuff you went over.
And we got the resource list too for a deeper dive.
Yeah.
Yes,
wow.
I
we
wanted to be sure I was thorough.
You really were. I can't see how to unmute everyone, unfortunately. So if you guys have any questions for Empish, if you would like to put that in the chat, I can relay that information.
I think they have to go over and unmute themselves. I think they can see that.
Oh,
button and do
really?
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Thank you,
Yes.
Nazarene. You're a lifesaver.
So we've got a lot of time for Q&A. Anybody with any questions? And we have some time for Q&A. Any questions for Empish here? There's a lot of information I know she threw at you guys, and this is just, I mean, she just did the surface on LinkedIn. There's still a lot more that we're probably going to have in a part 2 coming up on LinkedIn down the road. But for now, this is basically taking you from your headline, your contact, talking about your how your resume reads, like the expectations and additional information area, talking about your professional picture, talking about just how to fill out some of those areas and what they stand for, what they should look like, the narrative you should use. So there's a lot of information there that just on the surface she has shared with us today. So any questions?
I have a question, Empish.
Okay, absolutely.
This might be a sort of a no-brainer question, but I think it might help to enlighten our audience as to some of the benefits of using LinkedIn if they don't currently, or even beefing up their profile if they're already on but just haven't taken that next step. So what is the biggest advantage of LinkedIn to you personally?
Well, to me personally, it's kind of twofold. Number one, I am job seeking right now. So LinkedIn is it. It's the place, it's the hot place to go if you are searching for a job and you want to engage with recruiters and headhunters. And I tell you, I've been one of those people that underutilized LinkedIn for years. And it wasn't until recently when I took a course on LinkedIn for freelance writers that I started to really understand the power of this platform. So for example, there's all kinds of free classes you can take on how to do your resume, how to do a cover letter. It's all free on LinkedIn. Lots of personal development, career development types of courses. Also, there's jobs that are posted on LinkedIn that I can apply for right there on the platform. And it fills in all of my information from my LinkedIn profile, and I can just hit the submit button. Plus, I can reach out to the recruiter if their information is listed. So that's one really powerful thing about LinkedIn is the ability to do job searching and connect with recruiters. Second for me is the ability to network. I'm trying to build my network. I currently am under 500 connections. And from my understanding, once you get above 500, you go into a whole nother level of visibility and interaction with people. I have people following me all the time. We didn't get into that too much in this webinar, but there is a difference between contacts and followers. So it's ability for me to network, to meet people, which could also lead to more opportunities for jobs and things like that. So those are my two most important things on it.
That's really great, Empish. I think that's excellent information. I have a little tip about that. So if you are currently working and you are also looking for a new job and you don't want your current employer to see that, make sure you click on one of those invisible buttons, because when you're applying for jobs and LinkedIn's like, hey, yeah, you know, when you're open to recruiters, but you don't want to your boss to notice that you're looking, there is a little pop-down menu that comes up with a couple of choices. Empish, do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with it because I'm a freelance writer, so I'm open. But I do know what you're talking about, Nazarene, and I remember there was a time when I was trying to figure that out. Like I'm connected to many people from my old company, and I did not want that to get through the grapevine. I was looking for a job. So I have to be honest, I'm somewhat familiar with that, but I'd have to go back in there and refresh myself because it's not a feature I use regularly. So
yeah, I've seen it around when I've been on LinkedIn. So just make sure that when the little pop down menu comes up when you're becoming a job seeker through LinkedIn, using the platform to find jobs and to let people know, because you'll be coming up in searches more often, and recruiters can see you kind of highlighted as this person is looking for a job in one of the industries that you're looking for or that you're searching in. So just make sure that you have that turned off in case you don't want your current boss to see that. Another thing I was going to say, Empish, in your contacts, when you're talking about contacts, when you fill that out, you should put in your website URL. If you only put it in the contact area, then what happens is only the contacts in your LinkedIn followers list can see and be able to access you through your email address. But however, if you add that same email address or another one, it's up to you, in your experience and additional information, the part that Empish was talking about that reads like a
Right.
resume, then everyone on LinkedIn, whether they follow you or not, will be able to have access to you. Is that correct?
That is
Empish?
correct. And I'm glad you brought that up because I had that in my notes, but I missed it. Yes, actually, there's a couple of things you can do with this. You can put it, there's an option in your intro when you're doing your introduction. They'll say, do you want to put some contact information here? Like what you said, Nazarene, where anybody can reach out to you. I did that. I put my website address in there so people can go to my website, contact me from there. But you can also put contact information in your summary. So let's say you're job seeking and you want a recruiter to engage with you. And I think I have it in my summary. I have in there my email, but it's under the more. You got to click down into the more section, but you can put contact information there. And I think there might be one other place. I'm not for sure. Oh, you can put it in your headline, which I did mention, and I've seen people put their website address right up there in their headline, to contact me for opportunities, go to so-and-so-and-so.com or whatever. So there's lots of places you can put it for people to reach out to you, regardless if they're a connection or not. So.
Awesome. That's really great. I love that. Any questions out there?
Is there anything in the chat, Nazarene? I saw some people giving compliments, but I didn't see, I don't know if I saw questions or
Let me have a
not.
quick look here.
Okay, all right.
No, I don't see a question.
I have
Nazarene,
a question.
Oh, there goes Matt.
Oh, please.
Sorry, Empish. Nice to meet you, and thank you for your presentation. I just have one question regarding the headline, or what you said earlier as our digital business card. So when people search us, that little headline under our name, that's got to have the most oomph, or people have to be sucked in to think, wow, I really want to connect with that person. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that. So when we search for someone and their name comes up, is it one sentence, the headline has to be impactful, or where should we go about that idea?
Well, I have to tell you, I've seen all kind of stuff.
Yep.
I've seen a little bit of everything, to be honest with you.
True.
But I tend to lean towards the vertical bars. That's
Yeah.
what I was taught, to break that information up. But I've seen, I'm a content creator and a social media enthusiast and a blah, 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 blah. And it's just like a sentence.
Yep.
So I guess it depends on your goal and who you're trying to connect to and what your mission you're trying to accomplish is. But for me, in the freelance writing world, this was the advice I was given, was to use those vertical bars and fill it, put keywords up in there to really make your profile more visible. But I have to tell you, the jury is out. I have seen all kinds of things I've seen emojis and graphics and all kind of stuff in that headline section. Yeah, but good question though.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and just expand on that for Matt and Empish, just a little bit, that the headline area, just so you have I think it's first name, you put your name in first and last. There is no, at least if you're using a screen reader, if you're using AT devices and you talk back, there really isn't a space where it says title, so job title. So, but your job title should go right after your name, your first and last name. You should put your job title in. And then in the headline, I think 120 or 280, I think it is, characters after that you're talking about, Empish, with all the bars and everything that you could put in there. I think it's about 120 or 280, I think, characters that you could fill up in that headline space. Am I right?
Well, you're partially right. Actually, I know it's kind of confusing, the header and the headline, and I had to keep reading it myself to get clarity. But the headline is typically what your job title is. So I'm the sales director at Coca-Cola, whatever. And the thing is, you do not want to do the default. LinkedIn will default your current position in that space, but you want to expand because you're more than the sales director at Coca-Cola. You do this, you do that, you love this, you love that. So add a little bit more information to that section because that headline is going to go with you wherever you go on LinkedIn. So you post you put a post up, a post, you do an article, you like and share someone's post, you comment on someone's post. That headline is going to go with you everywhere you go. So you want it to be more than just the one job title from your current position.
Oh, that's great, Impish, because that is a really confusing area.
It is. I'm with you on that. Like I said, I had to keep reading it to get a better understanding of it. And I did clarify it in the resource list. I have a link to an article that talks about your headline and a link to an article that talks about the header so that you can see the differences between the two.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Impish.
Mm-hmm.
Empish, can we, I know this might be a little off topic, but I think it's important, you know, for our audience. You know, LinkedIn is a professional platform. However, it is not above having trolls or people who have ulterior motives in mind. So do you have any recommendations on how people should handle, you know, inappropriate like connections, or, you know, maybe you connected with someone, but then they're reaching out to you and you're just feeling a certain kind of way, you're not feeling comfortable. Do you have any tips you can share?
Yeah, I do, because it actually happened to me. I think it was about a year ago. I had a recruiter reach out to me about a job position. And one thing I always do, no matter who it is when I get a email or an alert that so-and-so wants to connect with me, I go look at their profile. I just don't automatically connect on the first glance. I look at their profile, see what kind of industry they work in, where they live, what they're doing, how active they are, how many connections they have, because I want to know who these people are. And so when I looked at the recruiter, I said, okay, their profile looks good. I think I'm fine. So I'll, you know, engage with them. And then we began this conversation about this job, and come to find out, when I started talking about accessibility and making sure that the position that I could do it with my screen reading technology, they didn't really answer the question. And that's when I began to think something was off. And actually it was. This person was a fake recruiter on LinkedIn, and I actually blogged about it on my website. But what I ended up doing was going to the help menu and sending a report to LinkedIn. And because of privacy issues, LinkedIn couldn't tell me what the results were, but they became aware of this person and dealt with them. But I also saw some tips and tricks on LinkedIn as to how to avoid this happening in the future. And some of it was what I had already done, like look at the person's profile. But another thing which I did not do was go research the company off of LinkedIn. Like get on your browser and look that company up, look at the information from another location to see if they're really legitimate and saying who they say they are. But definitely report any type of strange, weird, abusive, hostile. I even had a friend who a man was trying to connect with her on LinkedIn for a romantic engagement. LinkedIn is not the place for that. It's a professional networking platform, and she reported him to LinkedIn. So yeah, definitely report it. Do a little sleuthing, do a little homework, and just check the person out as you're, you know, before you engage with them or as you're engaging with them. So.
Any other questions? Any shared experiences? Anybody wants to?
Oh yeah, someone I think named Andy said he had the same, or I don't know if Andy's a he or she, had the same experience on LinkedIn as well. I saw that in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Oh, Amy, is
Andy's
it
a
Amy
she.
or Annie?
Yeah,
Okay,
Andy's a she.
Andy, sorry about that, Andy.
No, you're fine. No. It is quite all right. Yeah, I had that experience with a gentleman. I think he was actually an actor from India. And when it comes to researching, I research everybody. I'm not one to my professional job, my day job. I deal with fraud a lot, so that's one thing that I dot my I's and cross my T's. And this bloke was um, he was an actor, and I did see information on him. Um, but yeah, he was a little bit too friendly for my
Mhm.
liking. So I had to very nicely, of course. I'm always very polite, but I did have to tell him this is business, or actually two situations, but it's okay. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there like that.
Yeah, that's right. Can never be too careful, you know?
And it's especially, I think, difficult, you know, when you're a person with a disability, and I think more specifically a person who is blind or can't see very well, because, you know, we seem to have to go a little bit deeper, you know, into finding out, you know, who these people are. I never thought that I would have to block people on LinkedIn. I've done it on other social platforms, but
Mhm.
I have had to do it on LinkedIn. They're not as aggressive, I don't think. It's just a different type of thing, but I don't even really like people, and this is just a personal thing. I don't like people reaching out trying to sell their wares, you know, without at least first trying to get to know who I am first, you know. And I advise people who are new to LinkedIn to just not do that, because it's spammy. I think it's more about LinkedIn, for me, is more about building relationships. And if you put those relationships at the forefront of your mind, these are real people. You know, it's not just you know, a computer avatar. And you have to, I think, really, you know, connect with real people. And in order to do that, you have to try to get to know them, let them get to know you. And that doesn't mean telling all of your business, not by any stretch, but to try to get somebody to sell you or to sell them something, you know, if that's your goal. I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of sketchy in a way.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And and when you know, I've done some research on it. That is the best thing to do, is get to know, if you are in in the sales industry, or that's your role, is to build a rapport and build a conversation with the person and get to know them prior to going into that heavy hard sales pitch, because that's a big turn off for people. And I've experienced it too. I specifically remember a job career coach had told me years ago on my LinkedIn profile to put in my headline that I was seeking work opportunities, so that people knew off the bat that I was looking for a job. But it attracted all kinds of interesting people that had nothing to do with what my goal was. And so I ultimately took that off my headline, and all of that died down. So yeah.
You know what
And this,
ladies, what I don't really like is when on your LinkedIn profile, the people don't read it carefully, and then they end up trying to in-message you or just get your attention when they try to connect with you, and they tell you, oh, we're so aligned and let's collaborate because our businesses are aligned. And I've had so many times where I've had to say, no, I'm into training or consulting or whatever. I'm sorry, but I'm not a salesperson. I'm not into customer service, and I don't, you know, have uh, batteries or something, or I have a software that I need that
Hmm.
I don't need this type of software, or I don't need this, or I don't need that. And it's like, no, you did not take the time to read my profile. You didn't get time to take the time to understand what it is that I do, and who my clientele is. Yet you're connecting with me because you wanna connect, to collaborate, to make a sale, to see if I'm interested in your product. And I find that to be pushy and salesy. So I advise, like, because you just said, Impish, right now, that it's for networking and it's collaborate and relationship
Hmm.
building. That is not one way to make a relationship and build a relationship and keep one. If you're going
Right.
to push your uh, company's agenda, you know, through a first connection or first time connection or hi, hello, that's not going to attract me turn around and, do further business with you. It's not.
Right. Well, and one positive thing you can do that I've been doing more of now is like, in my notifications, LinkedIn shows people that are following me or people that made comments on my blog post or whatever, or, so-and-so is trending in your industry. And I'll look at that person's profile. And as I'm looking, I'll see, do we have any shared connections? Or is there anything on their profile that resonates with me? Like there was a person I connected with, we had multiple shared connections, and we went to school in the same town, not the same school, but in the same town. So he's following me. So I sent him a message, say, thank you for following me. And I noticed we've got multiple connections and we went to school, blah, blah, blah. And I made that initial email message personal to him, because it would communicate to him that, oh, Empish looked at my profile, she paid attention. And I do that a lot of times. If people are sharing or posting or whatever, I'll go take a quick look at their profile, see if there's anything that I can pull out from their profile that we connect on, and I'll add that to my message. And that tends to go over really, really well with people. And I find that people respond very positively to that. So, yeah.
They definitely do. And, it's been my experience. You can meet some of the most interesting people and find yourself in the most interesting situations when you can open yourself to that, because I know nobody here knows this, but I met Empish through a connection on LinkedIn. My connection on LinkedIn knew a person at an organization here in Pittsburgh that I was on the board of. And I saw that she looked at my profile. So I went and I looked at hers, like Empish said, and I saw what we had in common, and I reached out to her, and I introduced myself. Hey, my name's Stephanie McCoy, blah, 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 blah. I saw that you blah, 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 blah. And we have this connection in common. And so that led to a Skype conversation. And then, and this spanned like a few weeks. So it wasn't like it was just, it happened like overnight. It took time because you're cultivating a relationship.
Mhm,
So we
mhm.
had a Skype conversation. I was asking her questions about social media and stuff because I really didn't know that much about it. It was back when I was starting Bold Blind Beauty. And here she worked for visionaware.org. And because of that connection, I ended up volunteering with the organization, became a peer advisor with Empish. That
Yeah.
was how we met.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's very true. And another interesting story that I was reading a book that was going to help me with some technology challenges I was having. And the author specifically said, connect with me on LinkedIn. So you know what I did? I went and I said, hey, I'm reading your book and you told me to connect with you on LinkedIn. And he responded immediately to me. And oh my gosh, I had no idea. We had this long conversation about the book and what am I interested in and what am I doing and what are you doing and blah, 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 blah. And it was so encouraging. I was like, wow, this thing does really work. It really does work. So yeah, you just never know where things are going to go when you connect with people on LinkedIn. But I've had some really positive interactions with people. So yeah.
Yes, this is Sarah. I have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you,
Oh,
Sarah.
fantastic.
This is Empish.
This has been fantastic. This has been very, very good and very helpful. I am an HR professional in many, many years. I think I was on LinkedIn because I was in recruiting from very, very early on. But as my vision began to diminish, and then I changed some roles, I wasn't using LinkedIn, but now I am back online. But I found it very challenging trying to navigate with the screen reader on the computer. But I found that I'm curious, do you find that the app I downloaded the app. It's much more, I guess, user friendly, and I can understand some of the icons and drop downs on it. Which do you find that is easy to navigate using a screen reader is one question, and then a really great tip. I'm so thankful that Microsoft has partnered with LinkedIn, and LinkedIn help with Be My Eyes is 24/7. And I can't tell you how many times I got stuck trying to figure out, now, if I post this, who's going to see this? The whole wide world, or just, so because it's really
Right.
not easy to understand what's seen, what does this mean when I do this, and where does it go? So I really
Right.
suggest people utilize the LinkedIn connect call on Be My Eyes. But just curious, between the app and the actual computer, which did you find
Yeah,
easier?
Sarah, that's an excellent question. I actually go with both. It just depends on what I'm trying to accomplish. Like this week, I've been updating my LinkedIn profile. Like I shared in the session, I saw that my work experience looked like a resume, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to change this. So I just type up what I needed to do, Microsoft Word, do a quick spell check, and cut and paste it. That's really difficult for me to do on the app on my phone. But when it comes to looking at my notifications and looking at who's liking, sharing my post or whatever, I find that really easy to do on the app. So it just depends on, I think, what I'm trying to accomplish as to which one I use. But I go back and forth because I use JAWS and I'm totally blind. So I do find the website to be a bit clunky. I'll just be real honest about that. And it is sometimes difficult to navigate because the cursor will move in all different kind of places. It won't land where you think it's landing. And I have to constantly double check and recheck that I am where I'm supposed to be. But I have found some benefit. I don't use Be My Eyes as much. I just send an email to the accessibility department at the bottom of the homepage on LinkedIn. It says accessibility, and you can go in. No, you can go into the help, and I think you can click on accessibility and send them a message. I just did that this week, as a matter of fact, because on the app, I was trying to do the pronunciation of my name. That's also a part of your header. You can put your name pronunciation up there, but you have to do it on the app. So I went to the app, but it wasn't working. And I reported that to LinkedIn this week. They tried to do a similar type of thing I did, and they discovered it wasn't working either. So they have sent that up the chain to the technology people to fix that feature on the app. But yeah, it just really depends on what you're doing. One last thing I'll say too is if I'm going to send like a little quickie comment, like, oh, thanks for this great information, blah, 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 I'll do that on the app. But if I want to do a more thoughtful, more engaging comment on someone's post, I will go to the desktop where I can actually type it, make sure my words are spelled correctly, sentence structure looks good, because once you send that comment out, it is there forever.
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
and what ends up happening sometimes is people will like and share my comment. I was on a post where it was real active engagement about a particular issue about working from home, and I gave my little 2 cents, and then next thing I know, my phone is binging and bonging and binging and bonging and binging and bonging because people are liking and sharing my particular comment. Now, if I had misspelled words and typos in that comment, it just wouldn't have been a good look for me. And being a freelance writer, it really would have been a bad look.
Right.
So I just am kind of mindful about
I
that.
totally agree. I
Yeah,
totally
but I
agree.
use both, just depend on what I'm trying to accomplish and do. So yeah,
Okay,
but good
great.
question.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would totally agree there. Empish, as somebody who uses a screen reader myself, I always fluctuate between the two, and I find it easier that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we just have a few more minutes left, everybody. So we're kind of rounding up the top of the hour. Any final questions? I have one question, but I just wanted to see if there's anybody else in the audience that might be thinking the question I'm thinking. Okay, Empish, so the last question of the day for this time, for today, is going to be, I need to understand why are people putting pronouns on their LinkedIn profiles? Because that was not a thing from yesterday. Like it was not there before, and all of a sudden now it's there. Why is that?
That's a good question. And I don't have the full direct answer. That was something on my list to research just to get a deeper dive and understanding. Now I can speak to myself personally. I put it on mine because I have a very unusual first name, which is also why I was trying to record my name as well. And people have thought I was a man. They thought I was from a foreign country. I mean, all kinds of interesting dynamics go on with my name, but I'm used to it because it's been that way my whole life. So when that feature became available on LinkedIn, and I think that's a recent development, that was not the case some years ago. I went ahead and did it to help people understand that I am female. Some people do it because, you know, they're concerned about their gender orientation and they want to make sure you get it right. I have friends that go by them and theirs, and that's the pronouns that they want people to use when interacting with them. So I think it has a lot to do with that. So
great, thank you so much for sharing that, because that always kind of stopped me, like why so much? And there's so many different kinds I've seen from there: he, she, them, they, their. Some people will put down binary, just so many different ones.
Yeah. So I think that just is a way to clarify any of that information so you know how to properly address that person.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Empish. This has been a very knowledgeable, informative, and insightful information session on LinkedIn. This is just on the surface, sort of part one. We'll probably have a part two, go a little bit deeper dive into it. I know I learned a few tricks myself, you know, definitely. I'm sure others have out there too. So I want to just thank everybody for attending our webinar today. If you have any further questions for Empish or want to know a little bit more about LinkedIn, you can reach Empish through us by emailing us at info@boldblindbeauty.com. And I'm just going to put that in the chat so that it's there. Hold on, let me just put it in here. There we go. Hold on.
Empish, this is Sarah.
There we
I'm
go.
going to send you an invite to connect on LinkedIn.
Thank you for taking that challenge on. I appreciate that. And
I definitely am.
I will respond in kind. Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, ladies. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, thank
Awesome.
you too for attending.
There you go. Sarah's already taken the challenge, everybody.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, thanks.
Thank
That was
you.
awesome.
Thank you, Andy.
You're
So
welcome.
for those
Thank
people,
you.
we just want to say, just please be on lookout for those who registered for this webinar, for your resource guide coming in an email to you soon. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And also a quick survey link will also be accompanying that. So please take the survey. That kind of helps us out as well too. Thank you, everybody, for tonight. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Empish, for being our guest and hostess.
Absolutely. I
today.
enjoyed it.
It was great. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good
Have a good
night.
evening.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.